this, huh? So we're starting off this video with I filmed a bunch of clips before the weekend, before a certain event. And they're supposed to be for the big truck. I'm an idiot, somehow I deleted them. And you're wondering why I have no facial hair, why I have no hair on top of my head. Yeah, things, stuff, I don't know. We went out, we had a great weekend. We'll talk about that in a second, but first, big truck looks a little different. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a couple pictures, throw a few clips in from the weekend, and yeah, we got some new tires for the truck. We got a couple new odds and ends. I was supposed to film taking out the gas tank covers and a bunch of random pieces out, and that was going to be the beginning of this video. Gas tank is out. One camera's ready. Camera in this hand, obviously ready. I'm going to take a seat, and you're going to notice the gas tank is exposed. Why? Today's video is actually a sponsored video from Fass. We're joining the biggest diesel family there is and installing one of the best diesel kits there is, or lift pump kits there is, I should say. But as you can tell, I'm still in a good mood. I'm still excited. This weekend we went ahead and me and wifey officially tied the knot and became husband and wife. And so yeah, I went and got married. We took the big truck. The family had an amazing time doing all of that. 70 miles an hour, 20 miles of the gallon on 40 1550s. I couldn't be happier. Exposed a couple little things that I want to fix, mainly being today's video and the fuel system. So as the neighbor blasts by with his VTEC equipped cannon there, today we're going to be installing a Fass 165G TS for titanium signature series lift pump set. We're going to be installing what you see behind us here is actually a Fass 165 TS for titanium signature series lift pump kit. Fass went ahead and sponsored the channel with this. This is amazing. Huge opportunity for me personally, for the channel, which is again me personally. I feel amazed that Fass would be willing to help us out with this lift pump, this truck, this build in particular. There's a million Squarebodies out there, not as many diesel swapped, not as many Duramax swapped, and Crewcab short beds I guess narrows that down, so might be a hint of why they wanted to help there and the future plans that they were aware of. Yeah, things are gonna get wild now. Currently I'm not going to take the truck out and show you guys. It gets a little weird when you're really hammering on it in third and fourth gear. It will spit and sput for a second, which I believe is low fuel pressure. We're going to go ahead and show you how we have the lift pump set up now. But I just wanted to thank Fass again for providing this insane unit. This entire kit is just out of this world. Every single thing we could have possibly needed, from filters to harness to lines, fittings, brackets, everything. Again, thank you so much, Fass, for providing this kit and letting us be part of to me, the largest diesel family there is. But with that, let's go ahead and begin the installation, and at first, take out what has proven to be a very inadequate setup, and let's dive into how inadequate it is. The guys over there are never going to stop weed eating mowing. Pretty sure they're just going to keep that going forever and ever and ever, so I'm hoping the shotgun mic is just going to try to pick my voice up if I talk louder and more dominant than their damn tools. But yeah, we have, as you can see, a McKinney lift pump up here above me. It is filterless. It is just a lift pump. All it does is provide a little extra help to the CP3. Duramax CP3 has a suction but no lift pump actually from the factory, and so that's it to keep yourself fuel. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. So, me being an idiot, I tried to run this all through, which we're probably not going to be able to see here in the dark, or over my exhaust, but up there you have your factory Chevy switching valve. I tried to run everything, so from these half-inch lines here, let's see if I can do this. So like an idiot, I tried to run everything through the stock Chevy switching valve over there. Half-inch lines that neck down into 5/16 lines. The returner is divided, the feed is divided. That all then runs through the factory Duramax fuel cooler, through these factory Duramax lines, which the lines probably aren't so bad, but then they also go to factory Squarebody lines that are 5/16 and 3/8 at best. We're going to change all of this up now. I'm no longer going to be feeding it through the top of the sending unit. We're now going to be feeding it through the bottom, which we'll show you how. I had planned before the wedding to be smart and drain the fuel tank as much as possible. I'm an idiot and went and got married. Well, we drove to the beach. Driving to the beach, I filled the truck up. So now we have probably, I don't know, I drove down a little bit thinking about this on the way home. But yeah, we still probably have 3/4 of a tank of diesel in there. We need to get all the diesel fuel out before we can take any steps forward. We got a bunch of Home Depot buckets. We have a diesel fuel container. So let's make a pilot hole and start draining this out. I'm not going to just drill a hole, throw a time lapse together and everything like that, but I'm going to be using a Beans diesel sump kit. So what a lot of Duramax owners, Cummins owners, anybody who wants a sump basically, this is one of their mini sumps. I'll show you how to install it, but I'm going to drill the pilot hole for this. That's going to be how we're going to get the fuel drained out. I'm hoping that the buckets and the container are going to be enough, but let's just get started. Let's get this going. Of the Fass 165 TS series on the LB7 Crewcab Squarebody. Hopefully 3 5-gallon buckets is enough, but I guess we're gonna find out here. Camera recording, time lapse, wind blowing, wiring everywhere. You know how it is. I got most of this undone. I'm trying to slide on my boot here and this isn't working. But most of the wires are undone, most of the lines are undone. I'm trying to not let this drain fuel everywhere, but we got the switching valve all unhooked. I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna try and turn the stock tank into a transfer tank. We'll do that once we get the Fass actually installed. For now, we're gonna go through, let this just go, and I'm just totally blocking this, my bad. Yeah, we're gonna let this go through and drain all the way out. Hopefully, like I said, 3 5 gallons is enough. I have a diesel container in there too, so technically I can hold 20, and this should only be 16. But now I'm gonna start pulling the McKinney out. It has been just leaking diesel just profusely, man. It's just, to that point it was ready. Fass seriously saved my butt. Not only one, being a channel sponsor and being the coolest thing in the world, but also just getting me this lift pump when I really, really needed it. Because, what was that? A couple hundred miles to and from the beach, and I had probably lost 1/4 of a gallon of fuel. My balance is starting to fall backwards here, so let's get to the garage and start to check out this kit. Alright, so while that fuel drains, we have a new wiring harness, but this has nothing to do with the Fass. This is all for wifey's truck. And hopefully we're going to be making a show with that this weekend, so that's going to save us. This is all wifey's truck too, actually. But we saw the Beans diesel sump kit, and now we see the Fass kit. Like I was saying before, this provided us with everything from fuel line to wiring harnesses to fittings to the lift pump. Oh, I don't know if I want to pick this up. This is heavy. From the lift pump to the filters, brackets, everything in between. FassRide.com. I mean, yeah, that's the best. Now that we have all this ready, we're going to start to get this unboxed, start to lay some of these out, and figure out how we're going to be doing this. Even though I bought an 01 to 04.5 LB7 kit, it is not for an 01 to 04.5 LB7. The motor may be that, but obviously it's a 1980 Crewcab Chevrolet, and there's going to be some modifications required. Let's dive into figuring out how the hell we're going to make this work. Okay, so now that we're back into this, like I said, harness, pretty simple here. You have a switch 12 volt, a constant 12 volt, and a ground. And yes, the ground is green. Provided a relay already, fused, all loomed, nice and fancy. Plenty of length there. A couple little things that are going to be different in this installation is I am going to delete the stock filter head. This is a race ready fabrication filter head delete. Pretty simple there. Pull off the stock filter head, install the U, but we'll show you as we do it. I am going to install one of these. This one's cracked, so I don't know. Maybe use the Mr. Gasket one, but Mr. Gasket. fuel pressure gauge onto the housing, just for shits and giggles. And then, like I said, we have fittings, we have line, and then this is the return, and then this is going to be the major thing that I'm worried about. We need to cut this. I should have set the camera differently. We need to cut this into the stock filler neck and actually attach the Fass's return to the nipple. We'll figure that out, see how I can make that work. Worst case, I could weld something to the steel, but hopefully I can get this in the stock soft line. So I'm going to go through the fittings a little more, and then we'll get to the truck and hopefully not let this thing overflow back there. A guy just rode by on his bike with a boombox on the back, playing some not copyright free music, and that was just, but it just made me laugh. I love Longview sometimes. Wiring, super easy. You have, like I said, red wire to positive, green to negative. You have a smaller red wire, which I have tucked down here. It's just going to a switch 12 volt source. I already have a switch 12 volt source available previously from the other lift pump. You have your relay that's going to get plugged in here. I haven't plugged the relay in yet, but that was step one, was just routing the harness. Obviously we have all of our slack down here. We'll go ahead and throw some zip ties and some stuff up there. Like I said, I want the Fass to basically hang down from there. Oh, we got dribbles now, dribbles. I think that means the fuel is about done, which leads us to our next step. Now that the fuel is drained, that was like 14 gallons. God, that sucked, but yeah, hole saw time. So we're gonna knock a 1.5 inch hole into the bottom of the tank. Then we'll go through and step by step together how to get the Beans mini sump installed, and then we can start to work forward on the Fass installation. The one thing that I'm having a little bit of trouble with is all of the instructions are all online. I could have obviously printed them out and stuff like that. I'm old-fashioned. I love me. Where I just got something that has paper instructions somewhere. Where did I? Aha. I love it. I love an old, I know it's bad for the environment nowadays and blah blah blah, but I just love old paper instructions. Having to sit there on my phone and thumb through. Should have just printed it out, but we're almost to the point of installing it, so why not just finish? Like I said, so far so good. Installation is very, very straightforward, step by step. With the instructions, you're doing harness first, lines second, and then you begin to mount the pump. Since we have the harness roughed out, we're going to start to install the mini sump, work our way towards the lines. I already said that, but whatever, let's do it now. Following the Beans diesel sump instructions here, all we're doing, 1.5 inch hole saw is being used to drill the hole to open up the tank itself. In the instructions it does say you can go through and clean up it says plastic shavings, but since this is a metal tank, using a ceramic magnet, I went ahead and fished around for some of the shavings that the hole saw would have left over. It does say in the instructions you can go ahead and pour a gallon of gas back through the tank to try and fish out any of the remaining ones. As you see, I did go ahead and use some of the gas since we had plenty of that sitting on hand. I did clean the tank with a wire wheel beforehand. Doesn't say anything, it just is clean, but they again are thinking of a plastic tank. I've read in the instructions on some other people's forums and builds that they've done them on metal tanks. It has an O-ring. This all should work. Hopefully this is just going to give us an abundance of fuel through the 1/2 inch line compared to the 5/16 line that we were using before. Oh, okay, so like I was saying, Beans diesel, even says Beans machine, or is it Beans machine? Yeah, it's Beans machine diesel mini sump. Press it, it's going to go up in that hole. O-ring to seal it. Pushing this down ever so slightly. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and try and hold myself up and do this. I'm going to go ahead and try and clock this, knowing that the Fass is going to be mounted here-ish somewhere, you know? So we want our fuel line to come up that way. It says to go ahead, fish this guy up in there. Dogs, so bright. Dogs are barking in the background. You're not gonna see the shine, But I got diesel all the way into my armpits. Look at that. It's when they mean 1.5 inch, they mean 1.5 inch, maybe plus a hair, you know, maybe 1 5/16, or what would that be, 1 9/16? I don't know. They mean very, very close. I'm so flustered right now. I'm covered in diesel. Of course, I had poured extra in there, which again, I just did to try and flush out any shavings that I would have filled the tank with. Thankfully, we're putting new filters on, so should save our life, but it's in there now. Let's see if I can actually push it up. So I'm gonna go wash my arms. That camera is literally coated in diesel. Get myself cleaned up. Now we can start to install the sump, install the lines, install the Fass. Get to the end and see how this thing's gonna work. But I'm literally, I wonder if it's gonna see, I'm dripping diesel. Oh yeah, you can see that on camera, right? I'm dripping diesel from my arm. Oh, there, you see this, right? There, yeah, that's how much diesel. I'm dripping it off of my elbows. Oh, this is a nightmare. I am so, I hate this. You wanna know something terrifying? Torquing aluminum to 22 foot-pounds. It's a stainless bolt, I think, into an aluminum receiver. Oh. I went and I verified my torque wrench was going to the right torque setting on a bolt in there. And I'm like, okay, so it's not the torque wrench. This thing really just wasn't that tight. And then looking at the O-ring, it wasn't seated flat or squishing it really. So it says in the thing 22. I went to 22. That's what it wants. It's what it gets. I'm gonna go ahead, find the right socket for this, tighten this guy down to that too, and yeah, now it's mount the Fass and start running some lines. But they weren't lying. You target to that. But that was terrifying. That was, ooh. That's the best. Ooh. It's the right tool. The only tool. You were scared. Wait, no, you were scared. I was scared. I want to say there's a method to this madness, but in reality sometimes you just got to turn the camera off and just wing crap. Of course, the return setup that they want to utilize has a little bit different diameter. It's actually the exact same diameter as the stock return line. So we're not going to be able to see any of this too great because it's obviously it's shoved up in there, smashing the mic into everything. But got it. This little barb on, where's my finger? This little barb on this side here is going to run through there to the return. I did mock up one side of the bracket. We have to attach the other side, but so that would be feed. The return will be up there. We'll worry about the engine side of the feed and return shortly. Now I guess it's a quick little time lapse of trying to get the bracket all hung up, trying to get the lift pump itself hung up. Like I said, there's no sawzall, tin snips, everything. It's just, it turned into a fiasco there. We have the harness in. I did throw in this Mr. Gasket fuel pressure gauge. Hopefully this thing doesn't leak. I don't think it leaked. I think the Jags one leaked, but yeah, we'll find out. Do not remove this little wristband, rubber band thingy, because it says it voids your warranty. That's what keeps the harness taut. 22 foot-pounds on this fitting. You're not getting this one to 22 foot-pounds because it gets like a 1.5 turn, and that's it. I'm going to follow the instructions on this part, which I believe is just next. Mounting with the bolts that it includes, the other side of the bracket, to the lift pump itself. hanging it, and then it looks like it said it wanted me to connect the harness and bump it over so it activates and spray some lube in there. From there, we're going to take the blue line, attach it to the feed, attach it to the return, and we'll show you the steps there. But you basically just run the line together, even though it's one line that's not supposed to be connected, pull the excess to where the middle is and snip it. Then you have two lines. That way, they're not providing you two lines. They just provide you, you're not going to see it back there, but one big bulk line. That was all a ramble you probably didn't understand, because neither did I, so let's get back to work. It is hot. I'm covered in diesel. And how do I look today? Yeah, just gross and nasty and covered in all this stuff. Love it, love it. Get back to this, get back to some more 64 stuff for the next video, and continue on. I love this thing, man. This Fass install it's actually going pretty easy for how much the day is fighting me. Trying this clip again with the microphone actually turned on, because I'm an idiot, but Beans diesel sump installed. Feed line off the sump, coming backwards in my hand obviously. It's going here to the Fass. We have the Fass thrown on real fast. The Fass thrown on real fast. Some English for you. Pre-filled both filters. It does say in the instructions, spray some WD-40 into the rear port and cycle the key. I did that, so I already know the pump cycles and works. I'm gonna throw a couple zip ties on the wiring, stuff like that, before we get to any, filing things up. Feed here, the front two ports. The upper one is 2-engine, the lower one is return to tank. So just take this blue line and cut it, run it there, run it back, yada yada, simple. After that, we should be able to fill up some diesel into this thing, maybe see if it runs again, check for leaks, start to put the plastic cover back on the tank and all that stuff. There's a million zip ties I need to throw up for the lines, for the wiring, for all that stuff. I just want to see if this works, and then we can obviously B-roll, maybe go take some pictures of it, I don't know, show off for Fass, because they were super generous in sponsoring this to us. But now I'm going to get back into working because it's getting windy again now that the sun's going down. So, yay me.
Oh my God. I am never gonna financially recover from this.
We'll pretend like I didn't just spill $1,000 worth of diesel on the, obviously it wasn't $1,000, damn that felt like it. Probably put like a gallon or two on the ground. Yeah, feel pretty stupid about that. I still have 10 gallons that I need to frickin' load up in there. Threw the filters on, everything's working. Before we start the truck or anything like that, again, I want to say a huge, huge thank you to Fass Motorsports for being willing to help out with the channel, help out me, help out the truck, just help out everything in general. It's amazing, such rad support from them. Like I said at the beginning of the video, next we're going to be turning our stock tank into a transfer tank with that pump over there. But before that, a race ready fabrication pump head delete, or filter head delete, I believe is what it's called. Basically, this guy is coming out. Funny enough, I just put that cat filter on. I can't really actually get in here how we can see this. If you look, there's this line and this line. Basically what this does is, see if I can pull this out. Ta-da. The two lines get deleted. I'm not going to run the Fass filters through this. I've heard bad things about it, so it's just a bolt there, a bolt there. Undo those two lines, that guy in there, and then I may actually carry the pump head around in a box. I may carry the pump head around in a box as a, I don't know, a safe in case of some emergency, but I doubt it. I'll just keep it in a box in the house somewhere. Yeah, it's pretty easy. This thing has gone very, very simple. Like I did say, we're going to be trying to utilize an old style clicky clack pump, as Vice Grip Garage would call it. It's just one of those little off-the-shelf O'Reilly's deals. And try and utilize the passenger tank feed line. No, let me say this correctly. Passenger tank passenger You can tell I'm figuring this out on camera. Passenger tank feed is going to go into the driver tank vent. This has turned into one of the dirtiest, just most disgusting jobs, but it's because of a little preventative maintenance here. So as I was saying, we're pulling the filter pump head off of the stock location, and you're noticing now a piece of blue line in here. So spin the race ready filter delete into view, and you can see that a little bit. But this stock piece of line was so, see if it wants to focus on this. This thing was so decrepit and just falling apart. Look at the ends of it. It's really, hold on. See, oh yeah, pick it up. There we go. Look at all the weather cracking. I'm wondering if that's where we've been drawing a little bit of air, because that's one of the lines that goes right to the CP3. So I'm going to throw in that piece of Fass line, which was rad, because not only did I have a little left over, I have a bunch from when we first actually put the truck together too. So like I said, clean up, finish this out, then I can get to actually doing the transfer thing. I was just doing that filter head delete real quick, and then yeah, found some things I didn't like. So as usual, fix it, move on to the next thing. Day 2 now. Everything I own has that wonderful diesel slick to it. A nice sheen. My hands still smell like diesel. I took a shower, washed my hands 30 times now. Didn't matter. We are officially done, minus 1 or 2 little problems. Everything on the fast side, absolutely perfect. It came out great. We're going to show you here in a minute how quiet it is, how actually everything works phenomenally. However, I wanted to use my passenger tank as the transfer tank for the driver tank. Try and get a little crafty here. I underestimated the required vent size to flow the fuel adequately over how I needed. I'm going to get under there and kind of step by step it and show you how it, just the way of, the way of the land, how the lines run. What was going wrong, what wasn't, but essentially I was transferring the fuel from the passenger to the driver, and at first it was at first it was pretty much peeing out of the vent, and then I got it to go down to a trickle, but you can't trickle fuel while you're driving. That would be stupid. You don't want to waste fuel, especially with how expensive diesel is. So I had to add more vent. My current solution, where did I throw that piece? I cut the vent line, the one that goes to the neck, and I was going to add a little T. We're just going to go vent, vent, and then we're going to add a valve cover grommet style breather on that, having an additional vent. But the 3/4 that I had laying around, a little bit too large. That's actually a good thing, because that means we're going to take a quick test drive to Home Depot. I need to grab some metal and some wood for project out back. Trying to redo the garage, make a better shop back there for better content and stuff. But yeah, well, I can leave the vent line cut for now, and we'll just drive over there, grab the stuff we need, grab a little brass tee, and then make an O'Reilly stop and grab a little filter thing. But I'll grab a creeper, run under there, and we'll show you how the lines are set up, get a little B-roll of the Fass. There. We see the stock hard line there. The clicky-clack pump we're using for the transfer is going from the feed to the feed. I don't necessarily enjoy that, because I should have dropped this tank, the receiving tank, and I should have cut the feed tall so it was showering down instead of pushing the fuel down and into the fuel. That's probably where my pressure is coming from, requiring the extra vent. But for now, everything's working. We're still utilizing the stock fuel cooler, running the lines that way. On this tank, you basically have a cap to return, a open vent, and then the feeding to this tank. On this tank you have the return coming from the engine. You have the feed basically just obviously being part of the transfer, and then the vent is left open here. This is actually, you can see it's still a little damp, and if I move my ass, it's exactly where the giant puddle is. Needless to say, it took me like a gallon of fuel to figure it out before I realized, okay, I need more vent. So I think that's just where it was dribbling down on there. I may have to tighten up that fitting ever so slightly. We'll see. once we run it, get to Home Depot and figure all that out. But so far so good. Everything seems super happy. The beans diesel, you're not even going to be able to see it in there. It tucks. It's like, oh, duh, it's over here. It tucks up in there so perfectly under the shield. Doesn't protrude from the shield. I did have to cut a little bit of the plastic. There's a turn that kicks up here, and it was just smashing against the fuel line to get this actually tight enough to be where I wanted it. But from the side, you can't really tell. Super happy with how all this came out. Like I said, I did have to cut this vent line that we're not going to be able to see for crap up here. This is where we're going to add the T, and then once all that's added in, we should be fine. Everything should work transfer-wise, everything should work fast-wise. From there, we should be able to add more boost, add more fuel, injector-wise, so I don't know. Some big plans with that stuff, but for now, I'm hiding in the shade so the ISO doesn't freak out, and let's run to Home Depot. Okay, home from Home Depot with the best news. Officially today, the neighbors had a realtor, the neighbors on the other side of this wall, the ones that we had been dealing with forever, had a realtor put a realtor box, lockbox on their lock, so that means they no longer live there. I win, ta-da! And you notice we got some goodies in the back. Old blue here. It is going to be so bright because of the ISO, just get mad at me, but yeah, filled the truck up with some 2x4s and some corrugated metal. Went ahead and ran to Home Depot and O'Reilly's, like I was saying, grabbed one of these little filters and a couple more of those little plastic tees, which hopefully will fix this little vent bubble I got going down here. But it is done, it works. I'm so happy with how the Fass is going. And of course this airplane, screw you airplane, screw you. I'll finish this clip out in a few minutes. I'm going to get some of this metal unloaded, talk about what we're going to be doing with the shop, and we'll end the video out there. Alright, after a little manual labor there, we got the metal and the wood back on the ground and add blue. Go ahead and pull this thing out front, but I'm not going to pull it in the driveway because it's basically done for a little bit, for a few minutes I would say. Metal was for the wife's truck for the 64. We're going to be redoing the bed in one of the next videos. We have the harness for it, we have some shocks for it, we have a bunch of random things, so stay tuned for all that coming up soon. So again, I just want to say the hugest thank you to Fass Motorsports for this 165 TS. It is the best thing. It's so quiet. I was expecting 3 times the noise, and I was still happy expecting that. But then when I got that, the result is just mind-blowing. The thing is like a garden hose worth of fuel, so injectors next, a little more boost, but that boost might be coming from another turbo, so we'll see all about that. Before I end it out though, I want to show you guys, this is hilarious. So we got all that stuff in my truck. My truck was a little full, so look how tooted this thing is. I don't know if it's gonna show up on camera great, but this is hilarious. She has 45 bags of rocks and then some mulch and stuff like that. I know, camera, we can turn that off now because we don't care about the neighbors. But yeah, she has so much rock, so much. We're doing front yard stuff, we're doing backyard stuff, we're just doing a whole bunch of stuff, winding the summer down, enjoying it as a family. Now that me and wife are actually married, enjoying it and as husband and wife. As I said a million times before, if you are not subscribed, hit that button down below. Stay tuned for more content, and I am going to get to building a wall to put up right there to enclose that. That's what all that wood and metal is for. Huge shop redo going to be going on back here to try and make it so it's a little more film friendly with lighting and just when the elements come, you know, when it starts raining in a few months. But instead of this Rambletron, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned for more. And with that, I'm out of here, guys. Average Joe Builds. See you later.